what I do feel terrible about is that he had so much pain inside of him, and I didn't see it. I did not see it. And for that, I will feel guilty for the rest of my life.
8 years after the shocking death of Anthony Bourdain, a new insight on his life is stirring up conversations again. Anthony lived a life that looked exciting from the outside. He traveled the world, met fascinating people, and shared powerful stories through food and culture. But no one really knew what happened behind the scenes of the famous chef's life. His sudden passing in 2018 left fans searching for answers. Now, nearly a decade later, Bourdain's ex-wife has finally spoken out about something many people suspected all along. Her words are digging up old memories and raising new questions about the struggles he couldn't admit to. Was there more going on in Bourdain's life than the public knew? Join us as we find out what led to Anthony Bourdain's tragic end. For the love of food. Born on June 25, 1956, in Manhattan, New York, Anthony Michael Bourdain came from a family connected to culture, media, and the arts. His father, Pierre Bourdain, worked in the classical music recording business and spent many years involved with the industry. His mother, Gladys Saxman, worked as an editor at the New York Times and had a strong connection to journalism and publishing. A few years after his birth, his younger brother, Christopher, joined the family. The two brothers grew up together in a household that valued learning, creativity, and discussion. Although Anthony was born in New York City, he spent most of his childhood in Leonia, New Jersey. Life there was comfortable and structured. The household did not revolve around strict religious practices. Anthony's father came from a French Catholic background, while his mother came from a Jewish family. Even though his heritage included both traditions, religion did not play a strong role in the home. The family focused more on everyday life and education. This environment shaped his outlook as he grew older, allowing him to explore the world with curiosity instead of strict tradition. During his school years, Anthony sometimes noticed the differences between his home life and the lives of his classmates. Many of his friends appeared to have more freedom and less supervision at home, which made him feel a sense of jealousy at times. Even though his parents cared deeply about him, he sometimes longed for the kind of independence he saw in other teenagers. As he grew older, this desire for independence became stronger. By the time he reached high school, he began thinking about his future and how he wanted to shape his path. He eventually graduated from high school 1 year earlier than expected. This decision allowed him to move forward quickly and follow his girlfriend at the time to Vassar College. Anthony enrolled at Vassar College, hoping to continue his education there. However, his experience at the college did not go as he expected. His academic performance was poor, and his grades dropped quickly. College classes did not capture his attention in the way traditional education required. During this time, he discovered that he felt far happier when he worked during the summer months. In the coastal town of Provincetown, Massachusetts, he found work in local seafood restaurants. The work placed him inside busy seafood kitchens, where he experienced the demanding pace of professional cooking. Those summers created a growing interest in the restaurant world and exposed him to the reality of kitchen culture. The contrast between classroom learning and the intensity of restaurant work slowly changed his priorities. During a family vacation in France, he tried a fresh oyster directly from a fisherman's boat. That very moment stayed with him for years. The taste and experience left a strong impression on him and sparked a deep curiosity about food and culinary culture. That memory slowly grew into a genuine interest in cooking and restaurant work. After leaving Vassar College without completing his degree, he decided to focus on the world of food instead of continuing with traditional academic studies. The decision marked a turning point that shaped the direction of his entire career. As his interest in food continued to grow, he chose to pursue formal training in the culinary field after graduating high school. He enrolled at the Culinary Institute of America, one of the most respected cooking schools in the United States. There, he learned the technical skills required in professional kitchens. The training exposed him to discipline, organization, and the demanding environment of restaurant work. After completing his studies, he graduated from the institute in 1978 and stepped directly into the busy culinary scene of New York City. Throughout the late 1970s and 1980s, Anthony worked in several restaurant kitchens across New York City, building experience and reputation within the industry. Among the places where he worked were restaurants such as the Supper Club, 1/5 Avenue, and Sullivan's. These kitchens allowed him to develop his skills while learning how restaurants operated behind the scenes. Over time, Anthony became known for his dedication to the work and his understanding of the intense culture that surrounded professional cooking. In 1998, Anthony reached a major point in his culinary career when he became executive chef at Brasserie Les Halles, a French restaurant located in Manhattan. As executive chef, Anthony managed the kitchen while shaping the restaurant's food and operations. Even after he eventually stepped away from daily duties in the kitchen, he remained connected to the restaurant. The business continued to recognize him as an important figure associated with the establishment for many years before the company eventually closed. While working in kitchens, Anthony also began exploring another interest. During the mid-1980s, he started writing and sending his work to small literary publications in New York. One of these magazines, Between C and D, eventually accepted a piece he wrote about a chef searching the streets of the Lower East Side while trying to buy an illegal substance. His growing interest in writing pushed him to study the craft more seriously. In 1985, he joined a writing workshop led by the well-known editor Gordon Lish, where he continued developing his voice as a writer. By 1990, Anthony managed to receive a small book advance from Random House after meeting one of the publishing company's editors. This opportunity allowed him to publish his first book and continue writing more work afterward, although his early projects did not gain much success. A turning point arrived when his mother, Gladys, helped pass along a piece he had written about the hidden and disturbing realities of Manhattan restaurant kitchens to Esther B. Fine. Fine's husband, David Remnick, served as editor of The New Yorker, and the article eventually appeared in the magazine. The publication of that article dramatically expanded Anthony's reputation as a writer. The attention surrounding the story created a spike that led to the release of his book, Kitchen Confidential. The book became a bestseller and introduced readers to the behind-the-scenes world of professional kitchens. Its success attracted interest from television producers who recognized the storytelling potential in Anthony's experiences. Producer Lydia Tenaglia Collins soon worked with him to develop a travel and food television program titled A Cook's Tour. Anthony's work eventually expanded beyond books and television into film. In 2015, he appeared as himself in the movie The Big Short. During his scene in the film, he used seafood stew as a way to explain a complicated financial concept known as a collateralized debt obligation. His ability to connect food with larger ideas made the explanation accessible to viewers. He also took part in producing and starring in the documentary Wasted: The Story of Food Waste. While Anthony's career kept soaring, his personal life wasn't really perfect. Love in pieces. During the early 1970s, while studying at Dwight Englewood School in Englewood, New Jersey, Anthony Bourdain entered a relationship that would influence the direction of his young adult life. The girl he dated was Nancy Podkowski, a student who moved within a rebellious social circle that attracted his attention during those years. She was slightly older than he was and belonged to a group of teenagers known for their unconventional lifestyle and connection to the youth counterculture of that era. Anthony found himself drawn toward that world while he was still in high school. Nancy graduated ahead of him because she was 1 year older. Around the same time, Vassar College began allowing male students to enroll after many years as a women-only institution. Nancy decided to attend the college, and Anthony wanted to remain close to her. Because of this decision, he chose to complete his high school education earlier than usual. He accelerated his studies and graduated 1 year ahead of schedule, so he could follow her to Vassar College. Anthony and Nancy continued their relationship throughout the years that followed his culinary training. Their bond remained steady during the early stages of his career in restaurant kitchens. In 1985, the couple married and began their life together as husband and wife. Their marriage lasted for a long period of time and extended into the years when Anthony had slowly begun developing his writing career. For 2 decades, Nancy remained part of his personal life. Eventually, the relationship came to an end, and the couple divorced in 2005 after 20 years. 2 years after the divorce, Anthony entered another important chapter in his personal life. On April 20, 2007, he married Ottavia Busia, an Italian woman who later became involved in mixed martial arts training. The marriage introduced a new period that included both family life and his expanding career in television. Later that same year, the couple welcomed their daughter, Ariane. The birth of his child brought a new role and responsibility into Anthony's life. Fatherhood became part of his daily identity alongside his career. During those years, Anthony's television career required extensive travel around the world. Filming schedules for his programs kept him away from home for long periods of time. He often spent around 250 days each year traveling and filming episodes in different countries. The long stretches away from his wife and daughter created increasing pressure on family life. Despite efforts to maintain the relationship, the distance and demanding production schedule placed stress on the marriage. Ottavia occasionally appeared in episodes of his television series No Reservations, which allowed viewers to see parts of their relationship during his travels. She appeared in several notable episodes of the program that took place in different regions connected to her Italian background. One of the episodes featured her birthplace of Sardinia, where the show focused on regional cooking and traditions from the island. These appearances created moments where the program blended Anthony's professional work with parts of his personal life. Despite those shared experiences on screen, the relationship gradually changed. By 2016, Anthony and Ottavia separated after several years of marriage. Their separation took place during a period when his travel schedule remained intense due to the ongoing production of his television series. Around the same time, Anthony met Italian actress and filmmaker Asia Argento. Their first meeting happened during the filming of an episode of the series Parts Unknown in Rome. The encounter created a new personal connection that soon became part of his life during the later years of his career. Asia Argento became widely known during that period for speaking publicly about misconduct within the film industry. In October 2017, she revealed in an article published by The New Yorker that she had been assaulted by film producer Harvey Weinstein during the 1990s. Her account received strong reactions within Italian media and political circles. Due to pressure and negative reactions she experienced in Italy, she relocated to Germany in order to escape what she described as a culture that blamed victims rather than addressing the offense itself. In May 2018, Asia Argento appeared at the Cannes Film Festival and delivered a speech addressing the issue of exploitation within the film industry. During the event, she accused Harvey Weinstein of assaulting her in Cannes when she was 21 years old. The speech brought further global attention to the situation and intensified the ongoing discussion surrounding misconduct within the entertainment industry. Throughout that period, Anthony supported her publicly and remained connected to her as the controversy kept unfolding. On June 3, 2018, Anthony shared a video through social media that showed members of the Parts Unknown production team celebrating during filming. The footage included Asia Argento directing, while Anthony and cinematographer Christopher Doyle participated in the moment with the crew. The video captured a brief moment of celebration during the production process of the show. The team appeared relaxed and engaged in the collaborative atmosphere that often existed behind the scenes of the series. In a couple of months, another development connected to Asia Argento became public. In August, reports emerged involving Jimmy Bennett, an actor who had accused Argento of assault. Information surrounding the case revealed that a payment of $380,000 had been made to Bennett. Asia Argento later explained that Anthony Bourdain had handled the financial arrangement connected to the payment. According to her account, he personally managed the transfer of money as a way to resolve the situation and prevent further intrusion into their personal lives. But that was only a tip of their relationship problems. The unexpected end. While working on an episode of Parts Unknown in Strasbourg, France, Anthony Bourdain was accompanied by his close friend and frequent collaborator, Eric Rieper, a chef he had known for many years. The two traveled together, exploring local cuisine and meeting chefs and food experts while filming for the show. During this period, Bourdain maintained his usual demanding schedule, working long hours with his production team to capture the essence of local food culture. His energy on camera masked the personal struggles he experienced privately during that time. On June 8, 2018, Rupert became concerned when Bourdain did not appear for dinner and later missed breakfast. Alarmed by his friend's absence, Rupert checked Bourdain's hotel room at Le Chambard in Kaisersberg, a town near Colmar, and found him lifeless. Authorities later confirmed that Bourdain had ended his own life through hanging. At the time of his demise, Bourdain was 61 years old. The sudden nature of the event left friends, family, and colleagues struggling to understand the reasons behind his tragic end. Examination of Bourdain's body showed no signs of physical violence. Toxicology reports indicated that he had no narcotics in his system, aside from a trace of a therapeutic, non-narcotic medication. This finding reinforced the conclusion that the act was not influenced by substances. Arrangements were made for his cremation, which took place in France on June 13th. 2 days later, his ashes were returned to the United States, where they were entrusted to his brother, Christopher. The family managed the proceedings privately while navigating the public and media attention surrounding his passing. Bourdain's mother, Gladys, publicly expressed her grief, highlighting the shock and incomprehensibility of the situation. She described the unexpected nature of his passing, emphasizing that he had achieved remarkable success, enjoyed financial stability, and had a life filled with accomplishments. Friends and colleagues also expressed disbelief, as Bourdain had been admired for his work ethic, creativity, and the connections he maintained with people around the world. His demise brought attention to the pressures faced by individuals in highly public and demanding careers. In the days following his demise, fans of Bourdain gathered to pay tribute at locations connected to his career. One prominent site was the former Brasserie Les Halles, a New York restaurant where he had been executive chef. Although the restaurant had closed the previous year, fans left flowers, notes, and personal items to honor his memory. Across the country and internationally, other cooks, restaurateurs, and culinary professionals held memorial gatherings, tribute dinners, and commemorative events. In August 2018, CNN announced plans to air a final posthumous season of Parts Unknown. The remaining episodes were completed using additional narration, interviews with featured guests, and footage already filmed by Bourdain. The final season included 2 retrospective episodes that paid tribute to the series, highlighting both the impact of Bourdain's work and the influence he had on audiences worldwide. The network sought to honor his contributions to television, storytelling, and global culinary exploration while completing the project. In June 2019, fellow chefs Eric Ripert and Jose Andres declared the first annual Bourdain Day. The day was intended as a tribute to his life, work, and influence on the culinary world. At the same time, the Culinary Institute of America established a scholarship in his honor. The scholarship was designed to provide financial support to aspiring culinary students, helping them pursue professional training and careers in cooking, much like Bourdain had done decades earlier. The establishment of the scholarship ensured that his legacy would continue to support and inspire future generations of chefs and storytellers. In October that same year, a collection of Bourdain's personal items was sold at auction. The sale raised a total of $1.8 million. Part of the proceeds went to support the Anthony Bourdain Legacy Scholarship at the Culinary Institute of America, and the remainder was distributed to his family. Among the items auctioned, Bourdain's custom-made Bob Kramer steel and meteorite chef's knife sold for a record $231,250, the highest price of any item in the collection. His passing, while tragic, prompted a broader awareness of mental health in high-pressure professions, especially in industries where travel and long hours are common. Through both his life and the responses to his death, Anthony Bourdain continued to affect people, professionally and personally, highlighting the balance between creative achievement and personal well-being. His story remains a reminder of the challenges faced by those who dedicate themselves fully to their passions while influencing the world positively. However, it was later discovered that one of his relationships was an influencing factor. What happened behind the scenes? In the days following Anthony Bourdain's demise, the world struggled to come to terms with the loss of a figure who had inspired millions. While his passing was an immense shock to fans, friends, and colleagues, the personal stories that emerged afterward offered a deeper understanding of his emotional life and struggles. Those closest to him revealed moments and tensions that had remained private, illuminating the pressures and inner turmoil that shaped his final days. During this period, people began to piece together the sequence of events that led up to the tragedy. Bourdain's former wife, Ottavia Bouzia, shared her perspective on their relationship in the documentary Roadrunner. She recounted the challenges they faced after their separation in 2016, revealing insights into how Bourdain's demeanor changed in subtle and sometimes striking ways. The adventurous, energetic personality she had known seemed to fade over time. She described noticing an emotional weight that gradually appeared as he navigated life after their marriage ended. Ottavia recalled that when Bourdain began seeking therapy, it initially gave her reassurance. It appeared to be a constructive step, a sign that he was addressing his difficulties and attempting to manage his mental state. She felt some relief in believing that he had the support he needed and could find a path forward on his own. This perception allowed her to give him space, trusting that he was making progress. However, with the clarity of hindsight, she expressed regret for not monitoring his well-being more closely during that crucial time. Despite the divorce, Ottavia's reflections emphasized that their emotional connection persisted. The residual attachment and care for one another made witnessing his decline even more painful. She experienced the difficult balance of wanting to support him while respecting his autonomy, a tension that amplified her sense of helplessness. Her account explored the conflicting emotions that often accompany caring for someone facing emotional or psychological challenges, feelings of hope, guilt, and sadness together, creating a difficult emotional state during the final months of his life. In the days leading to his demise, Bourdain's relationship with Asia Argento became a central factor in his emotional state. Just 5 days before he took his own life, Argento was photographed dancing with French journalist Hugo Clément in the lobby of the Hôtel de Russie in Rome, where she and Bourdain had been staying together. The incident reportedly affected him deeply, and in the following days he checked her name online repeatedly, trying to understand what had happened. Text messages and phone calls between the two grew tense, contributing to the heightened emotional pressure he was experiencing. 3 days later, Bourdain joined Eric Rieper and chef Jean-Yves Schillinger for a meal at a restaurant in France. Schillinger was an old friend, and during the dinner, Bourdain displayed some of his familiar charm. After the meal, the three men traveled to Freiburg, Germany, for late-night drinks. There, Schillinger noted that Bourdain was welcomed warmly and appeared to be his usual self, engaging with friends and enjoying the moment. Despite outward appearances, those who observed him closely sensed the strain and emotional exhaustion he was hiding. In the final days, it became apparent that Bourdain was confronting the consequences of his emotional investment in his relationship with Argento. He appeared aware of the personal impact his feelings and expectations had, and some observers suggested that he recognized changes in himself that he did not fully like. The emotional intensity, combined with ongoing travel and work demands, created a fragile state of mind that left him vulnerable. On returning from Freiburg, Rippert, who stayed in the room next to Bourdain's, reported relief upon hearing him snoring peacefully. At least for a short time, there appeared to be normalcy in his condition. Yet the following day, tensions resumed with another argument between Bourdain and Argento. Messages exchanged during this time revealed the depth of his hurt and the distortion of his emotions. He expressed feelings of betrayal, emphasizing the impact of actions that had taken place in places they both cherished. Argento's response was that she could no longer manage. The possessiveness and intensity that Bourdain exhibited, the exchange reflected a complex interplay of love, hurt, and the inability to reconcile conflicting emotional needs. These interactions marked the final communications before the tragic conclusion. In the final hours, Bourdain went out alone, spending time eating and drinking. Later that evening, alone in his hotel room, he took his own life by hanging. His final days, as reconstructed through accounts from ex-partners, friends, and collaborators, revealed a man wrestling with intense emotions and navigating the challenges of human connection, from separations, arguments, and moments of reconciliation to the pressures of filming, travel, and public attention. Bourdain's last days were marked by a delicate balance of work and emotional pain. The story of his final moments provides a window into the intricacies of his life, the relationships he valued, and the vulnerabilities that even a celebrated and admired figure can face. Although there's another phase of his life where he struggled badly, a dark battle with addiction. Anthony Bourdain's life was shaped not only by his achievements in cooking and storytelling, but also by the difficult battles he faced with addiction. His struggles with substances were deeply intertwined with his early experiences in the chaotic world of New York City kitchens. During the 1980s, the combination of long hours, extreme pressure, and a culture that often normalized substance and alcohol use contributed to the development of habits that would challenge him for years. Bourdain's experiences with addiction were raw and unfiltered. In the early stages of his addiction, Bourdain moved through a relentless cycle of substance use. The environment in which he worked amplified his reliance on substances. He occasionally fell to desperate measures, such as searching his carpet for leftover traces of crack. These moments showed the depth of his struggle and the strong grip that addiction had on him. Yet, he did not attempt to hide these experiences, later sharing them openly with readers and audiences. His honesty became a defining feature of his storytelling and a reason why people connected so strongly with his work. During interviews in later years, Bourdain reflected on his younger self, describing the reckless and risky choices he made in his 20s. He acknowledged the extent of his experimentation and admitted to a pattern of behavior that might have ended his life early. This phase included the mixing of multiple substances, a highly dangerous act that increases the risk of accidental overdose. On one occasion, after taking alcohol with painkillers and anti-inflammatory medication, he passed out on the street. He was fortunate to survive incidents that could have ended his life. Bourdain experimented with many substances recreationally, but over time, his use escalated into serious addiction. He purchased his first bag of substance in 1980 at the age of 24, entering a dangerous relationship with one of the most addictive substances known. It quickly became a part of his daily life, consuming his attention and shaping his routines. Addiction became both a coping mechanism and a trap, pulling him further into destructive cycles. His struggle was not simply about use, but about going through the withdrawal, the cravings, and the effect of dependence. When Bourdain eventually sought to quit after 7 years of substance use, he approached recovery with a unique mindset. He saw withdrawal itself as a milestone, a sign of progress and resilience. Each episode of physical sickness became a marker of regained independence. But aside from the pride he felt in surviving withdrawal, the process was physically and emotionally demanding. He attended a methadone clinic for 5 years, gradually breaking the hold hard substances had on his life. Finally, he managed to quit entirely on his own. Even after becoming clean, Bourdain maintained some habitual use of alcohol and smoke while filming television shows, integrating these behaviors into his professional life. His recovery was not a perfect or linear narrative. It reflected the reality that addiction often leaves lasting habits and struggles. He did not claim perfection, but he learned to manage his use and pursue his passions in a way that allowed him to share his creativity and perspective with the world. His approach to recovery made his story relatable, showing that personal flaws do not erase achievement or talent. Bourdain's openness about his struggles also extended to mental health. He did not shy away from discussing the ongoing challenges of depression and emotional heaviness. Even after achieving fame, he was candid about lingering battles with severe depression, acknowledging that recovery from addiction did not take away the psychological burdens he carried. This honesty provided reassurance to others that even successful and admired individuals can wrestle with similar demons. He created a sense of connection for people who understood the difficult balance between external success and internal turmoil. In examining his life through the lens of addiction, Bourdain's story illustrates the complexity of human experience. His path included reckless choices, moments of profound danger, and long-term struggle, yet also showed resilience, recovery, and self-awareness. Addiction shaped his early life, influenced his creative work, and left a lasting impact on how he approached relationships, work, and storytelling. His willingness to discuss these realities added depth to his public persona and offered insight into the challenges that often remain invisible behind fame and recognition. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.